do the markets not look too good, especially after what we just saw in the after hours and pre-market today, right? The pre-market I would have expected to be a little bit better, right? We got a pretty good Amazon's earning call, and it's not seemed to help that much, right? You can see the SPY. We did move up on that. We'll pull out Amazon real quick. And Amazon moved up quite a bit on the earnings call, right? They had really good earnings. But stocks have not sustained those gains. They actually ended up moving down throughout the course of the past couple of hours. It's not looking good for a lot of these stocks, despite good payroll numbers coming out and not too horrible unemployment information. So we're going to get to all that. And we've also got some other interesting stories to talk about regarding Elon Musk and True Social. So before we do, good morning, Tim Boone, Silver, Rocky Mountain Gobblers, Kitchener, Rich M, Zach Taylor, Worlza, Manny C, Max Pierce. Good morning, everybody. Welcome. So, like I said, we'll start off talking about the jobs report. So the jobs report, payrolls gained 467,000 in January, despite being at these record levels for the pandemic. And let me actually pull out the numbers just to show you guys how crazy it seems that we are making these records in the payroll, right? Beating the expectations while we have these record case counts. So look at this. Look at this. I mean, it's quite a few cases if you look at it right here. January 1st, I think this is pretty much all of January. We've seen this massive spike in cases, and it seems kind of crazy that we're getting more jobs this month, right? Seems a little strange, but that's the way it is. That's what they're reporting right here, and you can see the payroll numbers month after month, and it's not looking too bad, right? We were expecting 150,000 new jobs. We've got 467,000 instead. So farms aside, we're making headway in the job market now. We've also got the unemployment rate, which for whatever reason is higher this month. So so be it, right? So be it. It's higher this month despite all of these new jobs. It's actually 0.1% higher than what expectations were, and we're actually increasing a little bit. So more people getting on unemployment, but more jobs out there also. Very strange, very strange. And I will point out the next thing that we did want to talk about, right? Amazon. And Buck Sutherland says, read the article, Rob. They revised previous months by a massive amount. They revised previous months. Let's see. Was it in this article that I pulled up? I don't know. I'll look for that in just a second. We got to talk about Amazon real quick. Amazon had a great earnings call, right? Now, it wasn't the best. It could have been better. They slowed down a little bit. Their revenue growth was the slowest in 4 years, and the retail business wasn't doing too good, which, who'd have guessed, right? Retail isn't doing as well as their online services. Obviously, the online services have a lot more leverage than what retail is going to be able to offer them, and that's a trend that we've seen not just in Amazon, but in pretty much every business over the past 20 years or so, right? We've seen that when you're doing business online, when you're operating a technology company, it tends to have a lot more leverage and a lot more growth potential than a retail company, right? So Amazon being in the retail space, it's understandable that that segment of their business isn't going to do as well. But they also did something new this quarter that they've not done before. They surprised investors by doing this. They broke out advertising as a separate business for the first time. So before this, they used to just lump it in with everything else. It used to just be, it was in their other business segments. So now they're actually talking about how much advertising revenue they're getting, $9.7 billion, up 32%. So impressive stuff, equaling Google's ad growth rate for the quarter. So Amazon is becoming an advertising giant as well. Really cool stuff. And that is part of the reason why their earnings call was so good, right? They moved up massively. They also beat expectations by quite a bit. They were expected to get, I think, $3-ish per share, and they ended up getting 27. The numbers covered a little bit right here, but they did beat earnings, right? So they were expected to not get nearly as much money as what they did. And all things considered, they moved up, and the stock market moved up with them. The SPY was up as well in the after hours yesterday, but we have given up most of those gains. All of those gains, actually. We're now making new lows, and I believe it's new lows on this downtrend as well. So it's really scary stuff to see that we are continuing to trend lower on the SPY, and especially on the Russell's IWM. If you look at that, we really made a move down, right? So we're going to see what happens with these smaller market cap stocks and the SPY in general, right? All the stocks in the stock market are on the way down. Tech stocks too, I believe. Yeah, tech stocks are making new lows. So it's not looking like too friendly of a market right now. It looks like we might be on our way to the lows of this dip. Now, we're not too far away, but we do have a ways to go, right? I wouldn't expect to see us get there today, but maybe next week sometime if we do continue moving down, if some good news doesn't come out soon to help save this thing, then it could be potentially a bad situation, and nobody wants that, right? Nobody wants these stocks to keep going down unless you're shorting. So we'll see if the shorts can keep it moving in the wrong direction. Maybe they can. But in other news, right, we got to talk about Facebook a little bit as well. So Facebook, we already covered for the most part yesterday, right? They had a massive move downward. It looks like they're continuing to trend down. But there was a new record set from Facebook. Facebook's $232 billion fall sets record for the largest one-day value drop in stock market history. So kind of scary stuff, right? A massive drop in value. Like I was saying yesterday, crazy stuff to lose $232 billion in a single day. That's really scary for one company, too. And for Mark Zuckerberg, he lost, I believe, $29 billion and moved down quite a bit on the billionaires list. We can take a look at it. It's kind of scary. So the real-time billionaires list. Look at this. Mark is down. He's not in the top 10 even anymore. He's now down at number 12 with only 84 billion left. He had 100 plus last we checked, and he lost 26% of his net worth yesterday. So he's certainly not happy about it, and we're going to see if he can pivot Facebook in the right direction, right? If he can really take over the metaverse, then Facebook has a chance. If he can't, well, the advertising business, right, and the social media business isn't looking too good, and it's not looking too good on the stock chart either. You can see massive drop right here for Facebook, and this has drawn some attention from some popular people. So Zach actually pointed this out to me. I'm going to show you guys this. Take a peek at this. An official statement from Donald Trump, 45th President of the United States, and the founder of Truth Social, right? So he put out this statement: Facebook's number of daily users has plunged for the first time in Facebook history. This means people are tired of fake news and abuse, and especially tired of their political shenanigans. It could also be that people are waiting for Truth, the highly sophisticated platform that we look forward to opening in the not-too-distant future. Time to straighten out what is happening in our country. So that is the first time, I believe, I think Kitchener called it the first time that Trump mentioned Truth Social by name. So if I'm not mistaken, that could be good for DWAC stock. We'll see what goes on. It hasn't moved up, hasn't moved up as of yet, but we'll see what happens. If we get some volume today, maybe we could be moving up, and hopefully we will. We'll see what happens with that, though. Hopefully it'll be a good day for DWAC, though. We'll see. We'll see. Maybe Mark will have a bit of a comeback today, right? We have actually seen other social media stocks popping off. And I'll pull up one of them. Snapchat. Snapchat actually regained all of the losses that it had in sympathy with Facebook. So look at this. Their earnings call came out, and they pumped up pretty big. They pumped up, I think, 60% from their lows to their highs. If we pull out the 30-day chart, we can see it a little bit better. But still, even on this great earnings news, they'd been beaten down so much right before it that they're only going to open pretty much where they opened 2 days ago. So even after boosting up, what is this, 60%? Yeah, I think it's closer to 40%. It was closer to 60 at their highs, but even after boosting up 40%, they're just opening up where they were 2 days ago. So that just goes to show you a lot of these stocks are feeling a lot of pain. Even these larger market cap stocks, even these household name stocks, right? I mean, at least people in my generation, there's quite a few of us using Snapchat. So we'll see what happens with these big stocks, right? The big stocks have actually been trading. I've noticed these large market cap stocks have been trading more like penny stocks lately. I mean, there just doesn't seem to be too much liquidity in the market, right? It seems like whenever there's a big buy or sell order, it's up or down 10, 20, 30% on some of these larger stocks that have hundreds of billions of dollars in market cap. I mean, it's kind of scary to see just how little liquidity there is. I mean, whichever way you want to push these things, that's the way they go. So it's kind of strange considering how much cash is in the system, but it looks like people are pretty fearful. There aren't too many people buying, and it looks like at the same time, a lot of the sellers have already sold their shares, right? People who are really bearish on the market, they've already positioned themselves pretty well for a down market, and they probably don't have too many shares left to sell when people are buying the stock up, pushing the price up. They've already sold. So we're seeing these crazy moves in both directions, and it's very interesting to see and to speculate about which side might come out on top, right? Will stocks eventually move to the upside or the downside? We've yet to see which way they'll go over the next couple of months, but it could be interesting, right? Someone's gonna be left behind. Someone's gonna wish they either had some more cash or some more shares. And I think the people who will benefit are people who are well diversified, people who have both shares and cash, and particularly people who are well diversified in the shares that they do have. If they have shares, being in multiple different industries, as well as being in potentially foreign markets, right? That's something that I like to put in my long-term portfolio, right? I like to have some foreign market stocks, right? So that's just something that I enjoy doing, even though they tend to not perform as well as the US-based companies. I think it's important to have some diversity in there, just in case things don't go too well in the good old USA, right? I think it makes some sense to have some foreign stocks in there, and mostly, I don't buy stocks singularly, right? It's if I'm investing in foreign markets, it's typically in the form of an ETF or something that just tracks a bunch of foreign stocks, just in case, right? Just so that some of my money is elsewhere. So that's just what I'm up to, right? I think that when the markets are moving up, it's really easy for everyone to look at them and think that it's just easy money out there, right? And you can pretty much buy anything over the past 2 years. This part, right? Right after the pandemic crash until sometime in early 2021, you could pretty much just buy anything for a period of months. And stuff was moving up until the Russells started falling and smaller market cap stocks started getting dunked on. You could pretty much buy anything and you were making big money. Now things are a little different, right? It's a little bit tougher. You have to be a little bit more selective with what you're buying. And, if you just throw your money around into random stuff and you don't know why you're buying it, if you just buy it for no reason, if you just hear about it one day and you think it's a good idea, maybe you'll make money on it, right? You could, but you also might lose money. A lot of stocks have been moving down lately, and there is the potential to lose some money there. So you have to be a little bit more selective, and you have to think about diversifying yourself a little bit more potentially, because we just saw, even if you're invested in some of the biggest companies in the world, like Facebook, if you have a really heavy position in Facebook, like Mark Zuckerberg did, 26% of your net worth can get wiped out in a day. 29 billion, right? That's pretty much unheard of. That would not surprise me to hear that would be the largest net worth loss in a single day for an individual. In fact, I want to look that up. I'm curious. Okay, wow. So, I see. All right. So look at this. So Zuckerberg, his net worth of his loss of almost 30 billion is the second biggest drop ever. Guess what the biggest drop ever is? And then we're actually going to talk about the guy who had the biggest drop ever right after this. The biggest drop ever was actually Elon Musk, what he lost in this November, so just a couple of months ago, after he tweeted about selling 10% of his Tesla stake. He lost, what was it, 35 billion bucks when he tweeted about that, and ended up selling 10% of his Tesla. And at these prices for Tesla, it's probably a good thing he did, right? Because he was selling, around here he was selling. So he was selling for much more than what Tesla, well, not too much more, but a decent amount more than what Tesla's trading at now. So he definitely secured a bit of a profit there, selling some of his Tesla. And, we learned from Mark yesterday, it's probably not the best idea to have all your eggs in one basket, to have all your money in one stock. It probably makes more sense to sell a little bit from time to time and diversify a little bit. So good job. Good on you, Elon. I think it makes a lot of sense that he did that. And even though that tweet where he talked about selling a bunch ended up crushing his net worth, the biggest loss in net worth in a single day, all in all, I think he probably benefited from it, since Tesla was probably moving down with the market anyways. So good job, Elon. Now, speaking of Elon Musk, we've also got to talk about this, wherever it went. Where did that story that I had go? Here we go. So Zach pointed out the conclusion of this story to me. It's a story I've been following for a bit, but it involves Elon Musk. It involves Elon Musk's private jet and a teenager who's apparently pretty good at coding algorithms. So story is that using the software and the instrumentation on a jet, you can apparently track these jets because it's all public information where these jets are going. I guess that might be a law or something that requires them to disclose what their altitude is and all that. So basically, Elon Musk has a private jet and he likes to fly around the country. And this teenager began tracking Elon's jet using that public information with an algorithm and hooked it up to a Twitter account at Elon Jet, which he used to automatically tweet out whenever Elon was going somewhere. And obviously, Elon didn't like this too much, right? Elon, he probably likes his privacy. He doesn't want, as he said, I think he said he's worried about crazy people potentially finding him. And he said he doesn't want crazy people to track him. That's his quote. So it's understandable, right? He was not a big fan of this kid tracking his private jet and putting it on Twitter for the whole world to see. And this Twitter account really began to take off. He actually got hundreds of thousands of followers. And Elon even offered him $5,000 to take down the account because he wanted his privacy. And he definitely doesn't want, once again, these crazy people tracking him. However, the kid said no. The kid said he either wanted $50,000 or a Tesla Model 3, I'm pretty sure. And Elon didn't respond to that. He said no, and just decided to block the kid instead. Now, that's the last that we've heard. However, when you actually look for this account, Elon Jet, there is no at Elon Jet account, right? There's no account with hundreds of thousands of followers. There's just a bunch of knockoff accounts that have a couple hundred followers. And it looks like this account might have, maybe the kid took it down. Maybe he got a lot of hate. People might have, lovers of Elon might have hated on this kid and threatened this kid. Who knows? Who knows what happened? But crazy stuff with Elon's jet. So it's looking like the world is more and more of a public place, and everyone, even private individuals, obviously Elon Musk, he's at the top of this billionaires list, right? He is the richest man in the world. So it makes sense that he has a little bit less privacy than the rest of us because there are just a lot more people who are interested in Elon Musk because he's the richest guy in the world. And, one of the biggest entrepreneurs of history, probably the biggest one in our time, but probably one of the biggest ones in history also. So it makes a lot of sense that he has a bit less privacy than the rest of us, but we are probably moving into a world where there isn't too much privacy, unfortunately, because once these satellites are in the air, there are already a bunch of them. You can already go on Google Maps and look at people's stuff. And once we really get more algorithmic technology, more artificial intelligence that's good at just listening to what you want it to do and then figuring out how to do it with the information available, the less privacy people are going to have. Because as soon as you can tell an AI, hey, go track my friend down the street, go figure out where his car is going, and it can just look at the public information on the satellites and send it back to you in a video. You don't have to go there yourself and try to figure out which car is his. It's just going to be able to do all of that real quick. We're probably leaning towards a world where there's a bit less privacy, and it'll be interesting to see how that goes, right? How people deal with having pretty much no privacy. I mean, these systems that we've got, our phones, text logs and whatnot, they're not as private as you might think. And a lot of people know for a fact that they're not very private, but they are not all that private. There are people who have access to them, and at a certain point, the technology that we're going to have is going to democratize who has access to it. There's going to be ways to look at that information, probably, and ways for everyday people like you and I to get a hold of that information. So we're probably headed towards a world where there's quite a bit less privacy, not just in terms of big institutions who have a lot of manpower being able to track us and figure out what we're up to, but in terms of individuals like you and I being able to figure out what our neighbors are up to, what our friends are up to. So it's kind of scary to see. I'm a little worried about it, right? It seems a little scary to me, but all in all, it's a journey that we'll be on together. So hopefully things won't fall apart when that happens. And speaking of things falling apart, NASA is planning to crash the International Space Station into the Pacific Ocean in 2031. So it's going to take a while. It's going to take another 9 years, but NASA is planning to decommission the ISS in 2031, and it will come crashing back into the Pacific Ocean because it's getting old, right? We've had this thing for a while. My hope is that they'll replace it with something. I think it makes a lot of sense to have a space station that we can all go to and study stuff in space. I would like to see, honestly, a lot more of that kind of stuff. I'd like to see a lot more space exploration, but it looks like NASA will be decommissioning the ISS and hopefully replacing it with something better, something with a lot more technology on it. I guess it just got too old to keep replacing parts on. So understandable. And we've also got a new update with the Russia-Ukraine situation. So we're going to talk about that in just a second. I will be right back, though. Right back, real quick. And then we'll talk about the Russia-Ukraine situation. So hold on, guys, 1 second. All right, we are back. And now we will talk about what's going on with Russia, Ukraine, and China. It's not the story you want to hear, but it's the story that we need to hear. So, basically, you guys know the deal with what's going on in Russia and the Ukraine, and the U.S. is putting some troops closer to the Ukraine. Germany's moving some troops over. Russia has a bunch of troops there already. And now, guess where Putin is? And guess who he's with? Putin and Xi, president of China, meet in Beijing as tensions rise over Ukraine. Russian President Vladimir Putin arrived in China ahead of the Beijing Olympics opening ceremony on Friday. Putin sat down with his Chinese counterpart Xi Jinping in a rare in-person meeting where both leaders issued a statement opposing a further enlargement of NATO. So nobody in the East wants NATO getting larger. Russia doesn't want it. China doesn't want it. Maybe Japan wants it. I don't know. The meeting takes place as Russia continues to build up troops on the Ukraine border, prompting efforts by the West to defuse tensions. So, not the best news, right? This isn't really what you want to see, because neither of these guys, Putin or Z, are, great friends of the United States. They're not the United States' favorite people, and the United States is not their favorite country. So the fact that they're meeting isn't the best for the United States and for NATO. Obviously, they don't want a further enlargement of NATO. So we'll see what comes of this meeting, right? It's a rare in-person meeting. My guess is it's pretty private, and maybe they got to say some things, just the two of them. So who knows what's going on with that? But it is an interesting development in the whole Russia-Ukraine situation. And Zach Taylor says the CIA is not a friend of the U.S. either. Neither is the IRS. So, man, speaking of the IRS, that actually has tax implications, stock market stuff, right? So let me pull up this new rule, which I think we've talked about. Where is it? Here we go. No, that's not the one. Come on. Here we go. No, we want a picture of the actual IRS rule. Where could it be? There it is. Hopefully this is high res. No, we need a high res image. We'll get it though. We'll get it. This is a very interesting IRS rule that people might not be aware of. But here it is. Straight from the IRS. So there's a new rule coming into effect. Illegal activities. Income from illegal activities, such as money from dealing illegal drugs, must be included in your income on Schedule 1. Or whatever, right? Your self-employment activity. And stolen property. If you steal property, you must report its fair market value in your income in the year you steal it, unless you return it to its rightful owner in the same year. So it looks like the IRS wants to start collecting taxes on all this stolen stuff. And I was thinking about the other day, and the reason we're talking about it now is because of what I thought of yesterday, because of this crazy rule that they've got. Not an IRS rule, but this is a California rule. Okay, here we go. So this is recent as of August 3rd, 2021, why shoplifting is now de facto legal in California. So the states, okay, so why is shoplifting so rampant in California, right? There are a bunch of people who shoplift in California. And why is that? It's because state law holds that stealing merchandise worth $950 or less is just a misdemeanor, which means that law enforcement probably won't bother to investigate, and if they do, prosecutors will let it go. So apparently you can steal a decent amount in California and just go from store to store stealing $950 or less, or worth up to $950, right? And if you do that, well, now you've got to report it on your taxes. So the IRS doesn't want people going around California stealing stuff, not reporting it on their taxes. So maybe that's why they implemented this rule, because California's been seeing quite a bit of theft ever since this $950 rule came into effect. And it's interesting to see that the IRS is kind of going along with it, trying to tax the illegal activities. So we'll see what comes of this, right? If this is sustainable, if California has to change its ways, if the IRS decides that they want to stop accepting taxed money for illegal activities, if they just want to pursue those people as criminals instead. We'll see. We'll see what they want. All right, so we've got the opening bell. We didn't miss it today. So autocodes, you steal things and then tax that? Yeah, I know. It's kind of crazy. Kind of crazy. All right. So the SPY, it looks like towards the after hour or the pre-market that we've been watching, at least, right? From 9 o'clock on, we've had some green, actually. So maybe we'll see some green in the markets. Pull up Sundial over Tesla. We'll see what we can get on Sundial, if anything. We've got, the 7th is the deadline. So Monday is the deadline for Sundial. We're either going to hear something then, or at the very least, by the 11th, we'll hear something about the Sundial delisting. So hopefully we'll hear some good news about that. Hopefully they'll say they got an extension. We will see that we'll either hear that or we'll get a delisting letter from them. And that could scare a lot of investors. But we'll see. They're trading pretty cheaply as it is. And if they do become an over-the-counter stock, if they get really cheap on that, that could be something I'm interested in. We'll see. We will see. Good morning, Albert. Good morning. All right. So stocks are looking ever so slightly red. The S&P is down 0.4%, 0.04%, 0.02. We're pretty much break even. Sundial turning a little green on the day, up 0.5%. All in all, things aren't looking that bad. And Max Pierce says, Rob, when is the deadline for NEPT on the chart? It looks to be a similar date as Sundial. I've not been keeping up with NEPT. I'll pull up NEPT. But I don't know exactly. I have not been keeping up with NEPT. So looks like what? 7.16 was when they started trading down. But boy, oh boy, Sundial's green. So I think they've got 30 days and then 180 days after that. I'm pretty sure. Good morning, Travis. Welcome. So look at this. The dollar's starting to move up. Sundial's continuing to rise. The S&P can't quite decide what it wants to do. It's kind of just bouncing around. The VIX, which I'll pull up, is on the rise over the past couple of days. We're seeing some green in the VIX. Not exactly what we want to see, but that's what we've got for the day. And let's see if there's anything interesting going on in the market. So obviously, the top two most trending stocks, we've got Amazon, number one, right? They moved up a bunch off their earnings call. They're up 10% just about. And then number two, we've got Snapchat up 47%, which we'll pull up some of these. We'll pull up one of these over the SPY real quick. Amazon, although it's dipping, still up off of this great earnings call that they've got. But notably, if you look back, 2 weeks ago, they were higher than this. So it's, all things considered, not the best move in the world for Amazon, right? They're still down pretty far off of their all-time highs. I think, if we go back over the past years, yeah, that's their all-time high. So Amazon, despite great earnings, is, let's see how much they're off by. They're still down about 20% off their all-time highs. So not bad. I mean, not a bad valuation for Amazon. A lot of stuff has gotten pushed down. Let's pull up their price earnings just to see what it's at. I just have a basket of these tech stocks, and I just pour money into the basket. So they're not trading at the best price to earnings, I'll say. Look at that, 59. Facebook looks a lot friendlier than that, although Facebook is expecting big slowdowns in revenue come this year. This year they're expecting big slowdowns in revenue. Apple has been putting in place new privacy conditions for them, right? They can't advertise to people as easily. They can't target people with advertisements. They've been letting people opt out of seeing these targeted ads or giving their data over to Facebook. And that's going to take a big chunk out of Facebook's earnings. So DWAC, says Albert. We'll pull up DWAC. Yeah, we looked at a DWAC story this morning. We're seeing some green with it so far, right? We're above $80. It would be nice if we could bounce up above 86, right? If we could continue making new highs, that would be nice. That would be good. We are on an uptrend right now, so we'll see if we can beat out the highs of yesterday. We've struggled with the $80 level a couple of times, and we'll see if we can get past it this time. I mean, sometimes you just need time to pass. And Buck says, Rob, did you see the monthly growth for Rumble yesterday? Yeah, wasn't it like 19%, something crazy in the month of January? I'm pretty sure it was, yeah, let's see. Yeah, up 19, yeah, monthly active users up 19% month over month to 39 million. And we are helping out, right? We're on Rumble. we are streaming on Rumble at this moment. So if anyone wants to watch the thing on Rumble, feel free to do it, right? We're right there. In fact, maybe people should head over and check it out. We're right there. If you look at the front page, we're right below Matt Kors. So he's up here on page number 1. We're on the finance section right there. If anyone wants to check it out on Rumble, feel free. I mean, the more users we get on Rumble, the better, I think. I think Rumble is definitely a massively growing platform, and I'd be happy to see a lot more Rumble users out there. So Rumble, I think, is going to do incredibly well. Now, I really want them to start trading as RMBL instead of CFVI. I always feel a lot more confident trading those stocks that are actually trading as the underlying company once we can see what's gone on after the merger. And I would really like to start selling some puts on them. Potentially collect some premium. Going to have to add them to the long-term portfolio for sure once they become RMBL. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. Zach says, remember when DWAC was $50 a few weeks ago? Good times, good times. Yeah, that was, hey, you were, yeah. If anyone was buying there, was getting it cheap. Look at that. I guess we bottomed out at 40, then moved up to 50, and now we're looking at 80. And we're eyeing 90. We're not that far off, right? We touched 90 a week or two ago, and we'll see if we can get past 90 again. I mean, this is all on the long trek towards 100, right? 100 is really going to be probably a significant one for DWAC. That is a very strong psychological level, right? Getting into the triple digits, that's going to be a tough one, but if anything can do it, it's DWAC, right? This has shown tremendous support. People have shown tremendous support for DWAC despite a lot of negativity around it as well, right? Despite being one of the most heavily shorted SPACs out there. We'll pull up the Ortex data for it. It's kind of crazy how many people are shorting this thing. Pull this up. Look at this. Pull up the live short interest on DWAC. Wow. Has it gone up since I last looked? Yes, it has. So look at this. Short interest higher than we've ever looked at on the channel before of 14.45% of the free float, 4.34 million shares. And just around the end of January, it was actually up to, I think, 17-ish% short interest. It might have been higher than that at 4.8 million shares. We've recently sunk down a little bit, right? Some shorts probably got a little scared and decided to exit, but it seems like short interest has just gradually increased over time, right? More and more shorts have come into this thing, and the price has been killing them because the price has actually been going up. So look at this, the 90-day chart on DWAC. Well, we'll pull up the 90-day 2-hour, right? So look at that. DWAC, I mean, granted, a lot of shorts were obviously shorting on day one, and some shorts are probably green on, if they were shorting above $100, they're probably green on their positions right now. But pretty much everybody else was shorting, around 60, 70, 40, 50, 60, 70 bucks again. And now we're at 80. We're above 80. So most of the shorts on this one have actually lost their money. Zach says, isn't it really expensive to short DWAC? Let's see if we can figure out how expensive it is. So we don't have a cost to borrow, but I believe that SPACs might be, I think there is a reason why SPACs are tougher to short and potentially more expensive to short, but we don't get the data on Ortex, unfortunately. But yeah, I believe it is. I believe it's pretty expensive, and it's pretty expensive not just in terms of borrowing cost, but in terms of how much money you lose, right? Because the stock just keeps going up. So we'll see what happens. And for those of you, since we're talking about DWAC, we will pull up this that Zach Taylor sent to us the other day, or this morning, actually. He sent this to us. Statement from Donald Trump, founder of TMTG and, president or whatever of True Social. So Facebook's number of daily users has plunged for the first time in Facebook history. This means people are tired of fake news and abuse, and especially tired of their political shenanigans. It could also be that people are waiting for Truth, the highly sophisticated platform that we look forward to opening in the not-too-distant future. Time to straighten out what is happening in our country. And that's a statement from Trump. And I believe someone in the chat pointed out, was that the first time that he ever mentioned Truth Social publicly? It might have been. It might have been the first time that he said something about Truth Social in a public statement. But we are expecting good stuff for Truth in the future, right? They're supposed to be launching February 21st, according to a leak from the Apple iOS store. So we'll hopefully see some good stuff. It looks like they just saw a big green bar. They're moving up, despite, let's see what the market's doing. It looks like the market's turning a little green as well, actually. So yeah, the markets are starting to move up. The small market cap stocks are not. Small market cap stocks are still down a little bit, still down 0.3%. We're seeing a little bit of green though. It could be worse. It could be worse. And look at this. DWAC just keeps climbing higher and higher and higher. And Sundial too. I mean, Sundial, it's moving up. It's moving up to the highs of day. You know, I think we need to break 50 cents. 50 cents has been holding us down for a while. We've just been getting pushed down off of 50 cents for the past couple of days. I think it would be nice to see a little breakthrough today if we could have a big recovery. Albert Pike says short squeeze imminent. 1,700 shares, I believe, of CFEI Albert's talking about. So yeah, I mean, CFEI, that's another really good one. The Rumble stock, very bullish on that. They're getting massive growth. We'll pull up. We'll pull them up. Yeah, we'll pull them up over. Well, Sundial's so close to breaking 50 cents right now. We're going to keep Sundial up, but we will pull them up over DWAC just for a second. Yeah, Rumble has really impressive growth numbers, and in the past we've looked at some of the growth they're projecting, but they have been multiplying their users left and right. And as someone who has personally, spoken with some of the people at Rumble and at Locals, company owned by Rumble, I think they've got stuff pretty well under wraps. I think that they're doing really good stuff. From what I've noticed when I've been on the platform, it seems like they're really trying to expand the amount of content creators that they've got on there and really branch out into other areas. They're trying to get into gaming. They're trying to get more into finance, right? That's why they've got us up on the front page, right? They're trying to get more finance YouTubers onto Rumble. And I'm happy to do it. I love Rumble. I think that it's really important to have a platform that does respect free speech, right? And YouTube is decent. It's okay. It's definitely been good to me thus far, right? It hasn't done anything. I have not noticed, any shadow banning or anything like that, I don't think. But, I also watch what I say. So I don't say anything too crazy. And I think that it would be nice if I could be a little bit less filtered, but that's the way it is. You kind of have to watch what you're saying. And understandably, on YouTube, you can't say all kinds of stuff. And Zach Taylor says, we all need to switch over to Rumble for this. I mean, I certainly like Rumble quite a bit. We've got quite a few people watching right now, probably more on Rumble at this moment than we've ever had on Rumble before. So, I will take a peek at the Rumble comments if anyone wants to say anything. So far, all we've got is good morning, DWAC to the moon, DWAC and DWACW to the moon. Let's go. That's so far all we've got, but I'll post something in the Rumble comments. What's up, guys? There we go. I'll post in the Rumble comments. We'll get some people commenting on the Rumble live stream. Typically, we don't have nearly as many people on the Rumble stream as we've got on the YouTube stream, but we also have about half the people at this point. So we've never had that many before. Pretty impressive stuff. Rumble, I've definitely noticed the growth myself, right? I've definitely seen Rumble growing as a platform, and I'm pretty bullish on CFEI, right? I think they could do pretty darn good. They've got a partnership with DWAC and True Social. They're going to be, I believe, their server manager, right? They're going to help them with Trump Media and Technology Group's video streaming. So it's pretty cool stuff. And they do tend to trade up when DWAC tends to trade up. So all in all, Rumble seems like a fast-growing, very investable platform. And look at this. They reported some of their data. They've got about, for January, 10.8 billion minutes watched, averaging 4.3 thousand hours of uploaded video per day. I certainly help out with that. I upload at least an hour myself. So if there's only 4,300 other people uploading video, then everyone's doing their part as much as I am. I think I might be doing a little bit more because of these live streams that last for about an hour. So maybe I'm doing a little bit more than the average Rumble user, right? But I'm very happy with it. I certainly am happy with the way Rumble's going and progressing. And like I said, I've talked with some of the team over there. They're all very nice. They're all very friendly. And they seem to have their heads in the right spot, right? So they've been working on this a long time, and they definitely deserve the growth that is finally starting to show itself, right? Rumble's been around for years and years and years, at least 6+ years. And they're finally really starting to take off. And we'll see what happens with the Joe Rogan Spotify situation. Maybe the year after this, Joe Rogan decides, once his contract is up, maybe he doesn't want to deal with all the controversy being on Spotify, having warning labels on his videos. He might move over to Rumble. Who knows? But Sundial, look at this. We're getting above 50 cents per share. All good stuff on the Sundial front. The markets are starting to recover. And CFEI, pull up DWAC. Looks like we're starting to move up there as well. Up 4% on DWAC. And we'll go back to the Rumble comments. And yeah, we've got a lot of people in the Rumble comments now. So people have got a lot of CFEI warrants. CFEIW up 5.4%. Congrats, Tesla. Let's buy CFEI and CFEIW, folks, as say people in the chat. Nice. So yeah, a lot of CFEI fans in the Rumble chat. Not surprising, right? I think people who use Rumble understand the value that it's going to be able to provide in the future, especially as it grows as a platform, right? It's already got a pretty good backbone to the platform. They've already got a pretty good infrastructure for just getting more users. Really, all they need is getting more users on the platform. They've already got most of the infrastructure built out. And sure, it could improve a little bit. I will say that YouTube is a little bit more seamless for starting the live streams up and stuff. It gives me a bit more of the analytics data. But that's all something that can come with time, right? They just need some more developers. And unfortunately, at the moment, developers are pretty darn expensive, right? There is a shortage of coders. We need some more coders out there. And I'm sure that once those are available, Rumble will be taking full advantage and further developing the platform. But right now, I think they're doing what's best and just trying to get some more users and more content creators out there. Because, if you want to watch stuff on Rumble, you can, but there are only so many videos. There's only so many different types of videos. A lot of it is mostly political stuff. A lot of it is, at least. And I think it's a really smart move trying to branch out into everything because, there's only so much time in the day for political stuff. And oftentimes, the political stuff can be kind of disheartening sometimes. It's not the best to hear about. There's a lot of corruption out there. And you don't always want to have your day darkened by the political stuff. So sometimes you can come into the finance space and learn about money. You could go into the gaming section, have some fun there. A thought that I've been having, let me know what you guys think. I've been thinking, I used to game quite a bit, and recently I've not been able to justify it. Just time-wise, I've not been able to justify gaming. And I've thought, boy, it would be fun to start up a gaming channel. I wouldn't take it too seriously. Just, play an hour of games a day, stream it. I think that would be fun. So if you guys are interested in that, feel free, let me know. Because I would definitely be interested in it. And even if nobody's interested in that, I'd probably do it anyways. So Zach says 83 watching here, 50 on Rumble. It's happening. Yeah, we've got more than 50% of the YouTube viewers on Rumble. So cool stuff. I'm certainly very happy to see it. Each Rumble viewer, I will say, means a whole lot more to me when I see them than a YouTube viewer. And I appreciate everyone. I love seeing you guys in the chat. We've got a great chat on YouTube. We've got a great chat on Rumble now. It looks like there's some chat going on there as well. People are talking about Rumble buying out the Rogan contract. They might do it. It would be an expensive buyout. Don't get me wrong. Rogan, I think he got, the reported number was 100 million from Spotify, but I will say that in a podcast I was listening to, someone was congratulating him on the 100 million he got from that Spotify contract, and he was telling the person, "You don't know how much I got." So maybe it was more. It would definitely be an expensive buyout. And we'll take a peek real quick at the market cap of Rumble. So I'm pretty sure that with the SPAC, it's supposed to be in the $3 billion area. I'm pretty sure it's supposed to be around $3 billion, maybe $4 billion if the price of the SPAC goes up, if CFEI goes up, because CFEI, the market cap of CFEI is about $4.5 million. And that's not representing all the available Rumble shares, right? Once they actually take Rumble public, there'll be a whole bunch of additional shares that are owned by the insiders. So I think the end market cap is supposed to be around 3 billion, if I'm not mistaken. Obviously, if the price of CFVI goes up, then that would lead to a higher market cap. So we'll see what happens with it. My hope is that it doesn't go up too much until they become RMBL, because that's when I'll probably start doing my heavy buying and add them into my long-term portfolio. And, I would add them now. The only issue is my long-term portfolio uses M1 Finance. And M1 Finance is a little finicky in the sense that they're not too easy to use in terms of when a stock goes through a merger. It keeps the stock on your list of stocks that you're buying into even after the ticker symbol doesn't exist. It's just a kind of weird situation, and the balances of stocks in your portfolio get all out of whack. But I have bought CFVI before in other accounts, so. Yeah, and Zach Taylor says Deplorable Social is me on Rumble. And Zach, I've noticed you've got quite a few views on some of your videos. I looked that up. You said so in the stream. You've got quite a few views on some of those videos, so impressive stuff. I mean, hundreds of thousands of views on some of those videos. Really cool stuff, man. But what we want, I think most of those are just clips of stuff. We want a webcam with your face commenting over it, Zach. All right, that's what we want from your channel. If I had to say we wanted something from it, but it's done well thus far. So keep doing what you're doing, man. I like it. And I will say, guys, something that would really benefit, something that we could really benefit from, is pulling up the Rumble page and hitting that Rumble button. That would be very much appreciated if we could do that, and if we could also do that on potentially the YouTube stream as well. That does help out a bit, right? It does help get the stream out to some more people, both on Rumble and on YouTube. That would be much appreciated. And just for those of you who don't know, since we've got a lot of people viewing this on Rumble at the moment, I will point this out, that we do these streams every morning that the markets open at 9. We start these streams, and I am considering adding an after-hours stream as well. Or not an after-hours stream, but power hour stream, right? From 3 to 4, I'm considering adding that. I think that it would be nice to kind of be able to cover some of the news that's gone on, some of the things that have happened throughout the course of the day. And if there are ever any earnings calls going on after hours, then maybe sticking around a little bit later for those if they're relevant, right? I think that could be interesting. But we'll see. We'll see what we do about that. I'm not so sure when I'll have time for that, but sometime in the next couple of months we might do it. James Wood says, I got tons of CFVIW warrants. Yeah, we'll pull up CFVIW. So the warrants are about 350, and let me pull up the CFVI warrants. So CFVI warrants. No, we want the official. Here we go. We're finding it. Here we go. The SEC. All right. So we'll zoom in a little bit on this. So CFVI. Blank check company. Warrants. So the warrants. Each whole warrant entitles the holder thereof to purchase one share of our Class A common stock at the price of $11.50 per share. So, from the sound of it, we've covered this before. From the sound of it, if you're buying the warrants for $3.50 about, you can buy the stock for $11.50. That means you're essentially going to eventually be able to pay $15 to buy Rumble. So we would not have to go up that much more for those warrants to be in the money and then to really start compounding the money, because the warrants are essentially like options contracts in the sense that, you buy them now, there's a bit more risk involved, but there's also potentially more reward in the sense that you pay $3.50 to control one share of the stock. And if the stock then doubled from here, right, if it went to $20, then the warrants, you could buy the stock for 15, and then there's a bunch of intrinsic value past that point. If you paid $3.50, because you're getting, say you bought it for 15, there's $5 worth of additional value in there. If the stock went to $20 per share, you're then able to essentially have more than doubled your money buying the warrants. Whereas if you bought just a share of CFVI, you wouldn't quite have doubled your money. You would have gotten close, but not quite. And with the warrants, you would have more than doubled it. However, there is the situation where the warrants could expire worthless, right? They're a higher risk, higher reward way of buying into Rumble, because if Rumble ends, or if these warrants end up expiring, and Rumble is below $11.50 per share, well, there's no real point in using the warrants, because the warrants let you buy it for $11.50, and at that point, you'd rather just buy the stock if it ends up trading below $11.50. Now, do I think that Rumble is going to trade below $11.50 after it turns into RMBL? Probably not. I think this is probably a very good long-term hold, in my opinion. Not financial advice, but I certainly like the look of Rumble stock, and definitely going to be adding these to the long-term portfolio because I think they've got a lot of growth ahead of them, and potentially there are going to be quite a few people who are a little tired of some of the censorship that's gone on. I think that a lot of people aren't huge fans of having to watch what they say. And, at a certain point, if we really get enough of a Rumble audience and it outpaces the YouTube audience, then I'd consider letting go a little bit of the filter that we all kind of have to put on ourselves when we're on these mainstream social media platforms. So, Maria, good morning. Just wanted to come in and say hi. Can't stay. Have a great weekend. Have a great weekend, Maria. Yeah, have a great weekend, everybody. Have a great weekend. We'll be ending the stream relatively soon, around 10. But yeah, I did want to touch on Rumble because they've been doing great stuff. I might make a little video on them later, just to really condense a lot of what's gone on over the past month or so. Talk about the warrants, maybe. We might make a warrant video, just explaining the warrants and whatnot. But all things considered, I'm pretty darn bullish on CFVI. I'm bullish on DWAC. I'm really glad to hear that they've got a partnership. I think that was a very smart move on everybody's part, right? These two platforms, True Social and Rumble, both have big audiences. Now, we'll see. They're going to start out at very similar market caps. It's not like one is going to completely eclipse the other unless one happens to grow massively. But it will be interesting to see if one of them can potentially, buy out the other, if they can combine their companies. Maybe that would be a good thing. Maybe people would prefer if they stayed separate. Who knows? It could be beneficial, right? They've already got a partnership, and it would honestly be a lot of capital that they would require. So probably wouldn't happen for quite a while because both of these companies are going to be trading in the billions of dollars worth of market cap range. And I don't know if either of them is going to have just the cash on hand to buy out one or the other anytime soon. So we'll see what happens with that, but it is an interesting thing to think about, at the very least. We'll see what goes on. And of course, you can't forget about Sundial making highs of the day, blasting through 50 cents, up 5.32% on the day. Hopefully going to continue this uptrend that we just started a couple of days ago in a strong way. I'm really hoping we don't get pushed back down below 50. We really need Sundial to start making some moves to the upside, right? It's just been crushed. It has just been crushed ever since January, really, of 2021. It's just been getting pushed down. Well, February, I should say. So a year ago, it really started getting pushed down, and maybe that means enough time is set in, and we can start moving up with Sundial. That would be the hope, but you never know. We're gonna see what happens on the 7th, and by the 11th, 4 days after Sundial, we should see what happens at the very least, right? They'll either reveal a delisting letter or they will not. And they will say, maybe we got an extension or something else. And we'll just have to see what happens on the 7th to the 11th. So we've got some time. Next week is going to be a very interesting one for Sundial, I will say. And all in all, it's going to be interesting for the entire stock market, right? The stocks that we've been watching, as well as the market as a whole, have been making some crazy moves over the past couple of weeks. And it looks like, at the moment at least, we're going to be green on the day. It looks like we're going to hopefully end the day in a green way, end the week, probably not end the week. Well, yeah, end the week green, I guess. Look at that. So yeah, we closed out last Friday around, what was it? $441 on the SPY. We're currently at 447, so we've got a way to go for, if we were to close it red. My hope is that we'll close it pretty green, and maybe we'll even move up a little bit throughout the rest of the day. It looks like that's the course that we're on. That's the trajectory that we've been set on ever since 9 o'clock. And it could be, right? We did get decent jobs numbers coming out. So the hope would be that we could continue moving up with the markets before anything bad happens, right? We obviously have to keep an eye on some situations, like what's going on in Russia. For those of you who were not here for the beginning of the stream, Putin and Xi. So Russia and China meet in Beijing as tensions rise over the Ukraine situation. Putin and Xi sat down for a rare in-person meeting, and who knows what was said, but they do publicly oppose the further enlargement of NATO. So it's not looking like the best situation. This is the story that we've been following for a while. And if anything was an actual real threat to the stock market, I'm not too worried about interest rates rising by 0.5%. But I am a little worried if something was to happen on the Russia and China front. That could actually cause some real stock market pain. So we're going to see what happens. My hope is nothing too catastrophic. But you never know, right? There's always risk in those situations. And quite frankly, I'm a little surprised that the stock market hasn't been a little bit more worried about it. I think that so far, pretty much everyone's just worried about what Powell's doing. They're worried about the Fed raising rates and just not, pouring as much money into the markets. They're worried about inflation too. But this has really gone under the radar, the Russia-China situation. And it's one that I think could actually have a much bigger impact than what people are expecting from the Fed raising rates, or maybe not inflation. Inflation seems like it could be potentially quite bad for for the stock market. It would potentially be catastrophic if we get enough inflation. You wouldn't know it though by looking at the price of gold. The price of gold, that's something I've been tracking and have bought into over the past couple of years. Gold and silver. And gold, you would have thought that with all these inflation fears, if people were actually worried about inflation, you would think that gold would be skyrocketing, because gold is the traditional inflation hedge. Hold on, let me pull up this. Let me pull up how big gold is by market cap. For those of you who haven't seen this before, it's pretty impressive, and it really puts to shame every other asset in the world. Gold, $11.5 trillion market cap. And the other big ones are just individual companies, right? We got Apple, we got Microsoft, Saudi Aramco, sure, Alphabet or Google, Amazon, and then silver at 1.2 trillion. But gold puts all of the other ones to shame. I mean, you could add up, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. The other four largest companies or assets in the world don't add up to as much as gold. So pretty crazy stuff to see just how valuable gold is. And a little strange to see that, for those of you who are new, you're going to like this. It's strange to see that gold hasn't gone up when 80% of all US dollars in existence were printed in the last 22 months. And what happened to gold? What happened to gold when there was all this additional money to be buying it up with? Well, yeah, it did move up initially. It moved up a bit, but all things considered, it didn't move up that much, right? So from pre-pandemic crash, we were around 150 on the gold ETF, and we moved up, what is it? We're up about 9% when 80% of the dollars in existence were printed. People still want to hold dollars. I mean, look at the dollar chart. Look at what's happened to this over the past couple of years. Look at this. When people are worried about these huge inflation fears and so much money is being printed, the dollar moves up pretty significantly. All things considered, the dollar has not been doing great over the long term, right? The dollar's been trending down, but it looks like we might be stabilizing here and actually moving up. It's kind of strange to see. AutoCodes asks, can you check shorts on Sundial? We will check out the shorts on Sundial. So we've got the short interest. We actually have this subscription, Ortex, and it lets you see the real short interest. For those of you who don't know what Ortex is, this lets you see actual short interests on stocks. A lot of the other places that give free short interest, they're outdated, right? They're a little old. But Sundial is about 12% of the free float being shorted, 253 million shares. And it looks like it's declining over the past couple of days. But all in all, we are still at fairly low short interests for Sundial, considering where we've been the past couple of months. We're typically a little bit higher than where we're at. Ever since August of 2021, we've been at a higher short interest. So all things considered. Some of the shorts, I will say, are getting out of Sundial. Some shorts are worried about Sundial. They know that Sundial has pump potential, and you can see it. I mean, even today we're up about 8%. We're climbing with Sundial. A lot of these smaller stocks look like they're actually pumping. You know, a lot of these stocks actually seem to be putting in some gains for the day. So we're looking pretty darn good with these smaller market cap stocks, and it looks like we went a little bit past where we meant to. Normally we end the stream at 10. It's 10:05, so we gave it an extra couple of minutes because some interesting stuff was going down. You know, Sundial, hopefully this one can continue to run up. That would be the hope. The SPY will take a peek real quick before we end this thing. The SPY up 0.2%. All that we need is the Russells. We just need the Russells to turn green on the day. It's down 0.4%. So hopefully we'll see that. A lot of stocks are green. You know, I think I jinxed this market crash by naming the stream Stocks Fall Again. I think I jinxed it. So I did my best for you guys. I tried to get us a green day, and it looks like we might see that. NJ sold his Sundial position yesterday. Well, I mean, you know, it's not the biggest. Yeah, there's some money lost, but all in all, if you're worried about a crash and whatnot, not the worst loss in the world, right? It's only a couple of cents per share. So, you know, who knows? Sundial could move back down, right? It's not a guarantee that it's just going to skyrocket. It might move down further. So, other than that, guys, that's what we've got. Feel free to like the video, subscribe to whatever channel you're watching this on, the Rumble or the YouTube, and join us every morning at 9 when we do these market live streams. We try to cover some interesting stories in the beginning part, then we're watching the markets for the second half. And I think it's a pretty fun time. And it seems like a lot of the people who have been with us for a long time think that it's a pretty fun time too. So feel free to join us for that. Join the family. We watch DWAC, Sundial, and other stocks like that pretty much every day. So feel free to join us. And don't forget, like the video, subscribe to the channel. We'll see you guys on Monday. Have a great weekend, guys. Bye.